Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for Only Murders in the Building, Season 3, Episode 3. We had to get Coco Vanderwolf here on the case. She is ready to break down who killed Ben Glenroy.
And was it two murderers? So after thinking about the premiere and the second episode and really kind of going back over things, I am convinced that there are two murderers. So we're going to go through all of that, why there's two murderers, who these two murderers could be. Was the second murder just opportunity? Kind of feels like it, and all of that.
This is going to be fun. We are already having a really great time talking about this season, sharing theories, going crazy with all of you guys. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had such a fun time with our live stream last night. We have live streams every Tuesday over at our Patreon, talking all about Only Murders in those first two episodes. It was so fun. So thank you to everybody who joined us for that live last night. It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's just get into this theory that you have about there being two murderers.
Yeah, it feels like obviously they're not going to want to repeat what they did season 1 and season 2, which is they've had a single murder and it was a female each time. It feels like it's obvious that it's probably going to be a male this time around. However, I think they want it to be that it's like, oh, it's obvious that we're not going to have another female murderer. So everyone's going to guess that it's a male. It's going to be a much smaller pool of people to be able to choose from. That's why I think like the real twist is going to be two, that somebody tried to kill Ben at the play. It didn't work. And then a second person, because he had so many enemies, was like, okay, cool. So somebody already tried this. This might be an opportunity for me then to just kill him. And whoever tried it the first time, they'll be in trouble for this, not me.
If they do this, because I mean, I will say it is a fun idea. I am staying with my idea that Cliff is the sole murderer, that he did all of it. We went into that in our premiere discussion.
Yeah.
But if they do this idea, I hope it's a situation where either in episode 3 or episode 4, maybe we find out who is responsible for the first attempt on Ben's life, the one that was not ultimately successful, because then you open up a door to a lot of other discussion, including like, did, attempted murderer A, or, whoever that is, were they tied in some way to the other murderer? Were they acting alone? Like, is there a connection? It creates another layer of mystery that can be explored in this show 3 seasons in. You gotta find ways to unpeel new layers, do different things.
Absolutely. Everybody put on your tinfoil hat. This is what I think happened.
Okay. All right.
This is my early guess. Okay. So we saw Ben treating his brother Dickie pretty badly. I mean, he was kind of treating everybody badly, but he wasn't being that great to him. So what I think happened is Dickie had enough and tried to kill him at the play. I think that Taubert, who is doing the documentary, we saw him so briefly, but he's going to be around Ben the whole time. So he's going to see him treating everybody badly, all the terrible stuff that, Ben is doing to people, how people feel about him, and nothing is really going to be exposed about that because that stuff always gets covered up. And, Tobert doesn't really have like the authority to be able to choose what's going to go into this documentary. It's probably going to be Ben, right? So anything bad that Ben did or wants covered up, it's not going to happen. He's not going to be exposed for anything. So my feeling is that Dickie did this the first time. And Tobert may have seen it or documented it because he is following Ben around, that he may have captured something. I think he may have known that this happened. And then when, Ben showed up, he's like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Tobert was like, you know what? I'm going to take this as an opportunity to then just push him down this elevator. He doesn't deserve the fame and the riches and the adoring fans because he's a terrible human being. You'll think that Dickie did it anyways. I have some footage that might be able to prove that. And here we go.
The biggest reason to me why this two murderer theory can work is just there are so many people who already want to kill this guy.
So many.
Like, I think they do need to, over the next few episodes, really establish further Like, what are specific reasons beyond just that Ben is a terrible person? Because we get that. He is an egomaniac, he's a jerk, he's all of these sort of things, but do you kill somebody just because they're a jerk? Like, you usually have to have some sort of other motivation. Like, if you're looking at somebody, like Dickie, like Taberno, you've already said, like, they're not people who are directly a part of the play. So that does sort of alleviate, like, my fear of if it's one of Ben's co-stars, like if it's Loretta, it's like, well, you're shutting down the play. You're just destroying your own job potentially if you kill him. That, if it's one of those two people or both, you are making it so that, okay, we don't have to worry about that. There's a motive that's separate from the play itself, and maybe the play is a little bit of a smokescreen, but you do need to sort of dive further into, like, what are the real specifics? What Ben does not strike me as a guy. He is not going full method here, everybody. He is not living and breathing his character in Death Rattle like he's Jeremy Strong. Like, there's some other stuff that's going on with him.
Absolutely. And I really feel like the brother's going to have a much deeper relationship with him. This has been probably going on their whole lives, that I could see there just being a much deeper reason why Dickie would be like, I am just over it. One of you guys in the comments actually on our premiere review left a really good idea. I'm so sorry I cannot remember your name, but I want to give you credit for it. You brought up the idea that how Ben might have been poisoned, if it was poison, was those cookies. That it was, it's a thing that people know about him. Dickie would absolutely know that about him, that he can't resist them no matter what. And I don't think that it was there for no reason. So good catch.
Yeah, it is a good catch. And it's an idea, too, where if you are an actor, you're probably trying to be careful about some of the stuff that you put in your body, especially before you're going out there and doing a show where you have to be really comfortable. But if there is a vice, if there is something like that you can't resist.
They're so good. They're hard to resist.
I will do a brief little story time here. I was in theater a lot when I was in, like, my first couple of years of high school, and, like, I was in a play that made it to, like, the state competition in Texas, and, like, I really wanted to have some Oreos, like, the day before one of our performances, but the other people wouldn't let me. They were just like, it's too bad. You're going to mess up your body. It's going to get on your teeth. You're not going to be able to get it. It's like, if people are this concerned about this stuff in high school, where they're obsessing over it, not letting me have my Oreos, dang it, Ben is going to be really concerned about everything he eats or digests. And it's somebody who's going to have really researched this and planned this out very carefully.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this all the time with big stars, of how sort of body image is really important in that industry. And there's a lot of pressure on everybody to have, like, this perfect physique for whatever roles that they're going to be in.
So Hulu, you guys aren't putting out a lot of information yet about episode 3, which is frankly annoying, because it's like, you don't have the actors able to promote the show because the strike's going on. So it's like, can you guys at least give us a little bit something more, like,
no promo, no synopsis, no nothing. Going into this episode, there's really just what we know from this last episode of sort of what are some of the threads that are going to be coming into this episode. And I do think this 2 murderer theory that I have, it could be starting to unravel early on in the series.
I think so too. And I think that I still will stick with my Cliff theory, but I think the 2 murderer thing is fascinating. And if they're going to do it, you have to dive into it soon to try to give us real time to build up. I mean, murderer aside, I know that is the focus of the show. I really still hope also we get, like, a really good Mabel arc over the next couple of episodes to kind of really establish her sense of loneliness, how she's feeling about the idea of having to move out of the Arconia potentially, and being kind of separated from her olds over the past, year or so while they've been working so much on this play.
Yeah, I mentioned this in our review as well, that I think that she's going to make enough money to move into Sting / Amy / Ben's rotating apartment. I think that this podcast is going to blow up. because Ben is such a huge star and it happened in their building and they're connected to him with the play, that I think that their podcast is just going to skyrocket. They're going to have sponsorships just coming in from everywhere. They're going to make so much money that she's going to be able to buy that apartment and stay. She's not leaving the Arconia.
Here's a tinfoil hat for everybody with Oliver and his story, because this is where I could see things going. We've got this potential love story with him and Loretta, right? And that's very appealing. However, I think we're going to get at a spot because of how Loretta feels about Ben and how clear that is, where is Oliver going to start to suspect that Loretta killed him? And then is it going to be a situation then where he starts to kind of think a lot about Charles and Jan and the first season and starts to be like, am I falling for somebody who's a killer? And I don't think that Loretta did it, despite my opinions in the trailer when I just wanted to see Meryl Streep play a murderer. But I could see that really damaging what could be a good relationship otherwise.
Maybe. Here's my tinfoil hat about what's going on possibly with Loretta. This is a bit out there, but you never know. Okay. So Ben in that party was like, you're a snake knows a snake, kind of whatever. He seemingly knows something about her that she's doing that's really shady. And we haven't seen her doing anything shady, but she does have this potential relationship with Oliver. Now, because she has a lot of insecurities and Ben tried to get her kicked off the play, I'm wondering if she really has feelings for Oliver or if she's playing up feelings for Oliver to make sure that her spot in this play doesn't get taken away from her.
Oh, Oliver!
I know.
I could see that too.
Because here's the thing: is Meryl Streep going to come back next season? I know it's not renewed, but I mean, whatever, it's going to be renewed. But if she's not coming back, then if there's a relationship, why is it ending?
Yeah, it's true, and I would love to see Meryl the rest of the series, but she's Meryl Streep. I'm not going into this with the confidence this is more than a 1-season role, so something is probably going to happen there.
Yeah, it just feels like the way that Ben said that he actually knows something that she's up to. Maybe he overheard a phone call or her saying something to somebody that she's playing Oliver in some kind of way. I don't know. I just don't trust it. And not because she's trying to necessarily be a jerk. I think we saw that little arc at the beginning of her having sort of this insecurity of wanting to be in the theater since she's very young and she's just unable to really break through. And then Oliver sees her have this audition that's just so amazing. And while she has confidence in that moment, it all goes away with the table read. And she has said that she really just gets so nervous. She's so insecure that and then, we've got everything that's happening with Ben. Ben's trying to get her fired, that she might be like, okay, I need to maybe it's a little mix of both. I already like Oliver. So if I, pursue something with him, then maybe this might help me out as well.
Another important question here. Does Ben have any friends? Because this is the thing.
I'm not his friend.
No, I'm not his friend either. He sucks. I love watching Paul Rudd. I hope we get a lot more of him. But Ben's terrible. But this is sort of if we're really going to get any more insight onto, if Loretta knew something, what else is going on with Ben, what did he know about Loretta, all this sort of stuff, he had to have talked to somebody, right? I think that's an interesting sort of subtext to his character, is that he is the most famous person in this show, and yet he may also be the most lonely person in this show because he may not have anybody he can be truly himself with, and that's why it may be very hard to get any sort of answers on any of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this episode is coming on Hulu next week.
Absolutely. Do you guys think there's 2 murders, and who do you think they are? Who do you think they are?
Cliff
if there's 2?
and Cliff.
Oh,
no. If
there's 2, it's not Cliff and Cliff. It's Cliff and
Donna. If it's 2, it's got to be. I think if it's 2, it's got to be the 2 of them working together in some way. And I think the motive there would be somewhat similar to what I've said the motive is with Cliff, where if they're the producers, Donna at least is experienced enough to know when a show is probably a hit and when it's not. And it's if they want to get out of this show and not stand to lose a lot of money and maybe cut their losses. You get rid of the star. You hope there's not a way to pursue it. Maybe you can get some insurance money or something on the other side of it.
Or they bring in a different star, Matthew Broderick.
Oh,
right? Like, here's the thing, is it like, we had this whole thing where Oliver's like, had the talk with Maxine, and she's kind of like, listen, you're playing it really safe. Like, this is kind of a dud, and I'm really surprised by it, because normally that's not how you go about things. And now he's talking about making it a musical and making it bigger. And we saw Matthew Broderick like very briefly in the trailer, and he's a Broadway icon now, which is so crazy after, you know, he's Ferris Bueller, that now he's like this theater icon. I mean, could he be being brought in? Then it's like, okay, Ben's out. Let's bring in an icon and make it better.
I think there is a good there is a good chance of that. And I will say too that if it is Cliff, like, I keep preaching this like insurance money idea or whatever, it's got to be deeper than that, because it's like, I'm able to recognize the own flaws in my theories now, and that's a little bit too obvious.
That's okay. Listen, we're all still like fluid with our theories. It's only 2 episodes.
No, but I gotta figure this out. I gotta be the sleuth of only. Everybody forget about everything I said in season 2 and how wrong I was. Let's just move forward. We can figure this out.
Absolutely, we can figure this out.
All right. Well, be sure to join our Patreon. We got a link in the description below. Lives over there every Tuesday night. Like Jess said, we had a really good time talking about Only Murders last night over there, and hopefully you guys can join us for the next one. Thank you for watching. Thanks to our patrons. We'll see you here next time.